the call for help. The emergency klaxon shattered the quiet of the night shift aboard Frontier Station Omega. Captain Marcus Webb rolled out of his bunk before the second alarm finished sounding. 3 years of commanding humanity's furthest outpost had taught him that urgent calls at 200 hours meant someone was dying. Webb strode onto the command deck, his boots echoing in the sterile corridors. The duty officer, Lieutenant Nina Volkov, turned from her console with worry etched across her young face. Behind her, the main view screen flickered with an incoming transmission. "Report," Webb ordered, settling into his command chair. The familiar weight of responsibility pressed down on his shoulders like an old coat. "Distress signal, sir," Volkov replied, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "It's coming from the outer rim, Sector 7. The transmission is weak, but we're getting it on multiple frequencies." Webb leaned forward as the screen cleared. The image that appeared made his jaw tighten. A Zalani researcher, her crystalline blue, skin pale with terror, spoke rapidly in accented standard. Behind her, explosions lit up what appeared to be a research facility. "This is Dr. Kira Veltar of the Zalani Scientific Collective Research Station Harmony," the alien scientist said, her forearms gesturing frantically. "We are under attack by Korthak raiders. 3 heavy cruisers have breached our defenses. Our peaceful colony has no military vessels. Please, if anyone receives this message, we have civilians here. Children. The Korthak show no mercy to non-combatants." The transmission cut to static. Webb stared at the empty screen, his mind already racing through options and consequences. "How long ago was this sent?" he asked. 47 minutes, sir," Volkov replied. "Given the distance, they might be alive." Webb cut her off firmly. "Get me Admiral Stone, emergency priority." The decision, Admiral Victoria. Stone's weathered face filled the screen within minutes. Even roused from sleep, the commander of Earth's Deep Space Defense Force looked alert and ready for action. Her gray hair was pulled back in regulation style, and her steel blue eyes held the hardness that came from making life and death decisions for 30 years. "Marcus," she said without preamble, "I saw the transmission. Tell me you're not thinking what I think you're thinking." Webb straightened in his chair. "The Zalani are a council-recognized peaceful species, ma'am. They've never raised a weapon against anyone. If we do respond, Stone interrupted, we give the Galactic Council another excuse to restrict human expansion. They already think we're too aggressive, too quick to violence. One wrong move and they'll push us back to our home system." Webb understood the politics. Humanity was the newest species to achieve interstellar travel. The established powers in the Galactic Council viewed humans with suspicion, calling them Deathworlders and savages. Every human action was scrutinized. Every decision weighed against the narrative that Earth's children were too dangerous for civilized space. "Admiral," Webb said quietly, "with respect, since when do we let politics decide whether we help people who are dying?" Stone was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of command. "The USS Defiance is docked at your station. It's officially logged as a medical relief vessel, but you and I both know what it really is." Webb nodded. The Defiance was one of Earth's newest ships, designed to look like a humanitarian vessel while packing enough firepower to level a small moon. It was humanity's answer to being underestimated. "Your orders, Admiral?" "Save the Zalani," Stone said, simply. "But remember, Marcus, the Council is always watching. Make this look like a rescue mission, not an act of war, preparing for battle." The USS Defiance hummed with activity as its crew prepared for emergency deployment. In the ship's main briefing room, Captain Webb addressed his senior officers. The faces around the table were diverse but united by a common purpose. Lieutenant Commander Jessica Torres, his tactical officer, studied the mission parameters on her tablet. Torres was known throughout the fleet for her strategic mind and her ability to find solutions when the odds looked impossible. Her dark eyes were already calculating firing solutions and defensive maneuvers. "The Korthak typically operate in packs," Torres reported. 3 ships suggest this isn't a random raid. Someone hired them for this specific target. Chief Engineer Ben Rodriguez, a stocky man whose hands were permanently stained with engine lubricant, looked up from his own tablet. The Defiance can take 3 Korthak cruisers, but it won't be pretty. They're not going to expect us to fight back, though. Most rescue vessels run when pirates show up. Dr. Amanda Foster, the ship's xenobiologist and diplomatic specialist, shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Foster was a civilian contractor, more comfortable in laboratories than combat zones. The Zilani are physically fragile, she said softly. Their homeworld has lower gravity than Earth. What might be a minor injury to us could kill them. Webb absorbed the information. Time to target? 4 hours at maximum burn, Rodriguez replied. I can push the engines harder if needed, but we might arrive fighting with reduced power. No, Webb decided. We go in ready for a fight. The Zilani have lasted this long, they can hold out 4 more hours. Torres cleared her throat. Sir, there's something else. Intelligence suggests the Korthak have been more active lately. This might not be an isolated incident. Webb stood, signaling the end of the briefing. Whatever's behind this, we'll deal with it. Right now, there are innocent people under attack, and we're the only ones who can help them. The philosophy of humanity, as the Defiance powered up its engines and prepared to jump to hyperspace, Webb stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. Doctor, Foster joined him, her expression troubled. Captain, she said quietly, do you ever wonder if the Council is right about us? That we're too quick to choose violence? Webb was quiet for a moment, watching the stars wheel past as the ship turned toward its destination. Dr. Foster, I've been in space for 15 years. I've seen what happens when good people do nothing because it's safer or more convenient. He turned to face her, his expression serious. Humans don't start fights, but we finish them. When someone calls for help, we don't send diplomats or peace negotiators. We send ships. We send soldiers. We send ourselves. Foster nodded slowly. And if the Council tries to stop us? Webb's smile was grim. Then they'll learn what happens when you try to keep Deathworlders from doing what's right. The Defiance jumped to hyperspace, carrying its crew toward a confrontation that would echo across the galaxy. Behind them, Frontier Station Omega continued its lonely vigil, monitoring space for the next cry for help. In 4 hours, the Korthak raiders would learn why the galaxy whispered about the humans from the death world called Earth. They would discover that when humanity answered a distress call, they didn't come to negotiate. They came to win. Arrival at the battle. The USS Defiance dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zilani system, with weapons powered but hidden. Captain Webb stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the tactical display that showed the unfolding disaster. The Zilani research station hung like a wounded bird against the backdrop of space, its elegant bio-grown structure scarred by weapon fire. 3 Korthak heavy cruisers circled the station like predators. Their dark hulls bristled with plasma cannons and missile tubes. The ships were massive, each one twice the size of the Defiance, built for intimidation as much as destruction. Report, Webb ordered, settling into his command chair. Lieutenant, Commander Torres bent over her tactical console, her fingers flying across the controls. The station's shields are down to 15%. I'm reading multiple hull breaches on the outer sections. The Korthak have boarding pods attached to 3 different docking ports. Chief Engineer Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm from the engine room. Captain, I'm detecting Zilani life signs concentrated in the central hub. They've sealed themselves in, but those doors won't hold much longer. Webb nodded grimly. The Zilani were brilliant scientists and peaceful philosophers, but they had never developed military technology. Their entire civilization was built on cooperation and shared knowledge. Against the Korthak raiders, they were defenseless. How long before the station's defenses fail completely? Webb asked. 20 minutes, maybe less, Torres replied. The Korthak are methodically breaking down their remaining barriers. Webb studied the tactical display. 3 enemy ships, each one larger and more heavily armed than his own vessel. By every military calculation, this should be suicide. But humans had never been good at following calculations when lives were at stake. Open a channel to the Korthak vessels, Webb ordered. The negotiation The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the lead Korthak cruiser. The alien commander who appeared was a nightmare made flesh. Korthak were reptilian predators, with scaled skin the color of dried blood and yellow eyes that reflected no mercy. This one wore ceremonial bone armor and carried the scars of 100 battles. "I am War Chief Grakton of the Bloodfang clan," the alien snarled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "You pilot a small medical vessel into a combat zone, human. Your species is known for stupidity, but this exceeds even your usual standards." Webb kept his expression calm and professional. "This is Captain Marcus Webb of the United Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a peaceful research station in violation of Galactic Council law. Withdraw immediately and we can avoid unnecessary bloodshed." Grakton threw back his head and roared with laughter. The sound was like grinding metal mixed with animal fury. "Unnecessary bloodshed? Human, I have 3 warships. You have 1 medical transport. The only blood that will be spilled is yours, along with these pathetic Zelani scientists." The Zelani sent out a distress call. Webb continued, his voice steady. "As members of the Galactic Council, they are under our protection." "Your protection?" Grakton leaned forward, his yellow eyes gleaming with malice. "Show me this protection, little human. Show me what your Deathworld produces besides empty words." Webb looked directly into the camera. "You asked for it." Screen went black, revealing the truth. "All stations, battle alert," Webb announced. "Chief Rodriguez, drop the medical disguise, show them what we really brought." Throughout the ship, hidden panels slid away to reveal weapon systems that shouldn't exist on a humanitarian vessel. The Defiance's true nature emerged like a wolf, shedding sheep's clothing. Plasma cannons extended from concealed mounts. Missile tubes opened along the hull. Shield generators that had been running at minimal power suddenly blazed to full strength. Torres grinned as her tactical display lit up with targeting solutions. "All weapons online, Captain. The Korthak don't know what hit them yet, but they're about to find out." On the enemy ships, alarms began sounding as their sensors detected the transformation. What had appeared to be a defenseless medical vessel was now revealing enough firepower to challenge all 3 of their cruisers. "Target the lead ship's weapon systems," Webb ordered. "Let's even the odds before they can coordinate their response." The Defiance struck with surgical precision. Beams of coherent energy lanced out, striking the Korthak flagship's primary plasma batteries. Explosions bloomed along the alien ship's hull as weapon mounts were vaporized. Grakton's roar of rage echoed across the communication channels. "Impossible! Intelligence reported you carried no military vessels." "Intelligence was wrong," Webb replied calmly. "We don't advertise our capabilities. We prefer to let our actions speak for themselves." The boarding action, while the Defiance engaged the Korthak ships in space, a smaller drama played out aboard the research station. Dr. Foster led a team of human Marines through the station's corridors, following life sign readings toward the trapped Zelani scientists. The humans moved through the alien architecture like ghosts. The station's lower gravity gave them an advantage, allowing them to move faster and more quietly than the Korthak boarding parties expected. Sergeant Mike Chen, the Marine team leader, held up his hand as they approached a sealed bulkhead. Beyond, they could hear the distinctive sound of Korthak plasma cutters trying to break through. 3 raiders, maybe 4, Chen whispered into his comm. "They're almost through the door." Dr. Foster checked her scanner. "I'm reading 47 Zelani life signs in the chamber beyond. They're all clustered together, probably in some kind of panic huddle." Chen nodded. The Zelani response to danger was to group together and hope for rescue. It made them easy targets for predators like the Korthak, but it also made them easier to protect. "On my mark," Chen said to his team. "Remember, the Zelani are fragile. Watch your fire." The Marines breached the corridor with practiced efficiency. The Korthak raiders, focused on breaking through the sealed door, never saw them coming. Within seconds, the threat was neutralized with minimal violence. Dr. Foster approached the sealed door and activated the station's communication system. "Dr. Veltar, this is Dr. Amanda Foster from the Earth vessel Defiance. We're here to get you out." The revelation As the rescued Zilani scientists were evacuated to the Defiance, Dr. Veltar pulled Dr. Foster aside. The alien scientist's crystalline features were pale with exhaustion and fear, but her large eyes burned with desperate urgency. "Dr. Foster," Veltar said quietly, "the Korthak were not here for resources or slaves. They came for our research data." Foster frowned. What kind of research could interest pirates? Veltar glanced around nervously before continuing. "We have been studying quantum communication networks. Our work could revolutionize interstellar coordination, but more importantly, we discovered something else, something that powerful people want hidden." She pressed a data crystal into Foster's hands. "We found evidence of illegal experiments conducted by the Hegemony Council. They have been testing forbidden weapons on primitive species. Entire worlds have been sterilized for their research." Foster felt her blood run cold. The Hegemony Council was the most powerful faction in galactic politics, claiming to represent peace and order. If they were conducting genocide for scientific purposes, that's why the Korthak came, Veltar continued. "Someone hired them to destroy our research and eliminate all witnesses. We were never supposed to survive." The price of doing right back on the Defiance's bridge, the space battle was reaching its conclusion. 2 of the Korthak cruisers were drifting with their engines destroyed, and the third was limping away at reduced speed. The Zilani research station was secure, its inhabitants safe aboard the human vessel. But victory came with a price. Torres looked up from her sensor display with concern. "Captain, long-range scanners are detecting multiple ships jumping into the system. Configuration suggests Hegemony Council vessels." Webb studied the tactical display as new contacts appeared at the edge of the system. 6 ships, each one larger than the Korthak cruisers they had just defeated. These weren't pirates or raiders. These were warships of the line, sent by the most powerful government in known space. "Time to intercept?" Webb asked. 40 minutes at their current speed," Torres replied. Dr. Foster's voice came through the comm from the medical bay. "Captain, you need to know what we found. The Zilani have evidence of war crimes committed by the Hegemony Council. That's why they were targeted." Webb closed his eyes for a moment, understanding the full scope of what they had stumbled into. They had come to rescue innocent scientists and instead discovered a conspiracy that reached to the highest levels of galactic government. "Sir," Torres said quietly, "we could run. Jump to hyperspace before the Hegemony ships arrive. We've saved the Zilani. Mission accomplished." Webb looked at the rescued scientists visible on the medical bay monitors. 47 beings whose only crime was seeking knowledge and truth. Now they carried evidence that could shake the foundations of galactic civilization.